therapy. It puts my anxious thoughts to sleep. Helps me focus my attention. Avoid the fear of imperfection. I know it's never too late to sit down and pen another verse. It's how I seem to calm myself down, eternally conversing. There must be millions of others out there who struggle with their words. But when I'm stuck inside my headspace, I'm in a lonely universe. But music is my therapy.
Hello again, my friends, and welcome into another Monday edition of the Formula One Fan Show, the perfect introduction to a Monday evening, and of course the starter to the Talking Town Extra Time show directly afterwards. So we're hoping to bring many football fans back to the world of Formula One. We've done that already in the last couple of weeks, which is really exciting. For those that don't know, this is, as I've said, the Formula One Fan Show. I am a new Formula One fan, so I'm the newbie here out of the three of us, and I'm joined by two absolute diehard F1 fans. So I provide the, what you might call silly questions at times, the noob questions, the basic questions. But if you're new or if you're coming back to the sport, you may well be asking that yourself at home. Whereas sometimes the aficionado and Mr. Positivity, they take it to the nuts and bolts of the issue, shall we say. So we are a mere weeks away from a start of another campaign. I'm looking forward to it, my first full campaign. And as always, I'm joined by, first of all, our aficionado of the Formula One world, Mr. Stephen Thompson, with a new intro. Mr. Stephen Thompson, good evening. How are you?
I'm very well. I like that. That's the first time I've said that. That's good.
Yeah, I said to you before the show, I was trying to get something that's more you, more what you're about. And you're about playing the guitar and rock. You love your rock music, right?
Oh, for sure. I would correct you and say it's a bass, not a guitar. But yeah.
First correction
Yes.
of the evening. These things happen
There you go.
throughout the night. It's absolutely fine.
I'm
Of
absolute
course-
shit on the guitar.
Okay, fine, whatever. I mean, to me, it's like a car. It's like an F1 car, an F2 car. I'm struggling. I'm learning. James King, bass.
James
I'm
King
learning.
bass.
I thought
Maybe,
bass. I didn't want to say it and then be wrong and look silly. You see?
no, it's like a guitar, but much cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you play it for a start, so
Absolutely.
it's going to be cooler. Good evening, Matt Stannard. Welcome in, my friend. Good evening, Lee. Welcome, and of course,
Yeah.
James King with the correction there.
Bass.
Formula One coming up weeks away. We've got a number of topics to get through this evening. But first of all, you're on tomorrow night, match day ticket, of course. You're looking forward to seeing your team play against Hull?
Yeah.
No.
I'm
Fair
looking
enough.
forward to the Talking Town bit more than the actual game. So
Of course. As always, you can listen back to this podcast in audio format. Just search F1 Fan Show Live on any podcast platform, and you will find us and you will hear us. And of course, if you do that, leave a 5-star review. So let's bring in your partner in crime. He is the king of spin, Mr. Positivity himself.
Wake up to the, wow. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. A Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
We're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
So
Never a
true.
truer word. Absolutely. Welcome in, Mr. Moles. How are you?
Oh, I'm living the dream.
Living the dream. So, of course, for those that are new to the show and those that maybe have forgotten who have watched us before, we do a little thing called Where is Neil this week? Neil, give us a couple of clues and we'll see if we can hunt the location.
Town lost to them.
Ah,
where'd you start with that?
Exactly. Yeah. Hang on. How many hands, how many fingers have I got? Peterborough.
Yes.
You're still there. Not
I am.
let you leave yet.
No.
Shocking. And are we in a lovely hotel?
Yeah.
Same one as last time?
No, different one.
Is it an upgrade or a
Isn't it? Oh.
downgrade? Don't say the name though.
It's the same. Same, name.
Oh, okay, just different location. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
And some are more modern than others.
that's true. That's true. So as I was saying earlier, we're only a few weeks away. I think, from my count, 4 Mondays away from the Formula One campaign. Are we both getting excited? Are we getting pre-campaign jitters? Do you get that as fans of your F1 teams? Talk me through how you're fit. Because as a new guy, any new season from my team, be it an NFL team or a football team or a basketball team or any sort of sport that I'm into, I get the nerves, I get the butterflies, I get the excitement. Are you feeling it, Steve?
As a Williams fan, I do get nervous. I can't wait. I now have started to see a few cars come through. I really start to get excited. And it's the countdown's on sort of thing. But as a Williams fan, I do get nervous because I think, oh god, last season, because at the end of 2019, I thought that couldn't get any worse, and then 2020 wasn't much better. It's nervous, but it is nervous excitement. I can't wait to see the new car and what they're going to do this year.
And of course, Neil, we saw your car last week.
As a quick answer to Matt Stannard, yes, it is.
It is a Premier Inn. There we go. We won't say any more.
But, from my point of view, I don't really get overly excited until.
I can't imagine you're a guy that ever gets overly excited about much, to be fair, Neil.
I do. It's just got to be good. No.
Why?
Basically, pre-season testing. Once you get a little bit of information on where everyone's going to be, that's the part where you can start. Oh, it's almost there.
Fair enough. I that's a good question. I just thought I'd ask you, really, because obviously as we approach. So, before we get into our topics, what have we got newsworthy coming up this week that fans of Formula One should be looking out for or keeping an eye on? What's the big things this week?
Is Red Bull, isn't it?
Red Bull Day.
What do we expect from Red Bull then, Steve?
Same old stuff with the livery. Dark blue with a yellow nose cone. Always has been. Unless they change it slightly for testing, which I've done a few times. I don't know what's going to happen with the Aston Martin livery, because obviously now that's gone to their own team. I would imagine that Aston Martin are now no longer title sponsors of Red Bull. So what will be in the place of that, we don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to see it, because this is going to be, hopefully going to be the year where Red Bull can charge more, or can challenge more sort of more, I can't think of the word, but yeah,
competitively, more closely, more consistently. There's a number of things, really.
Is the word I was after.
After Red Bull, Neil, is there anything else this week we should be looking out for as F1 fans?
You know me and keeping up with things.
Yes, Matt Stannard. Steve, I'll be so happy if Williams gets some points on the ball. Yeah, so will Steve. Steve. Steve, last week, you jinxed it. You said it couldn't get any worse. Well, about, 7 DNFs, would that be worse?
Yeah, 7 DNFs and no points.
Be quick to get a DNF.
Oh god, yeah. First lap, he's out. No, Williams. I've been a diehard fan of Williams for 20 odd years. Because everyone around me seems to be a Ferrari fan. Yeah, and I love, because the Williams were blue and white when I first started to like them. They were the BMW Williams, and I've just loved them ever since. And it's just been a steady decline. I think I might have jinxed it, because as soon as I became a fan
in 2000.
Yeah, basically it was. Yeah, I remember the Winfield, the red Williams in the late 90s. And then I sort of probably got into them with those BMW liveries. They were gorgeous. And then just followed them ever since and just watched them slip further and further down. A bit like Ipswich, really.
Yes. Yep. Well, maybe you're the curse. Steve, maybe we have to have a sit-down conversation at some point and just say, it's not us, it's you.
Find a new team. I might switch to start. I might start supporting Lewis Hamilton, because then he'll just have endless bad luck and then he can sod off. But
no, he's too much of the goat for that. Right, we've got the wheel. We've got 6 topics on the wheel. Anti-Chicken says, I think Red Bull will go backwards and McLaren will challenge Mercedes. Do you want to come in on that?
I hope so. But,
is that feasible?
I can't see it happening.
Why can't you?
Red Bull are just that much further ahead, unless Mercedes and what changes McLaren have made at the rear of the car unless that makes huge difference, then they'll still probably be half a second a lap off.
Okay. Steve, any comments on that?
Yeah, I agree. Red Bull makes some fantastic cars. Honda are getting better and better. McLaren are going to be good this year. I get that feeling. But I think Red Bull will step it up a notch, and they've got two very, very good drivers this year, Perez and Verstappen.
Okay.
Martin, I need to congratulate you. You've actually got a wheel this week.
Well, I was going to say that before you did. Actually, it stopped. So now normally this is how it works. It looks good, it stops, it turns into absolute crap. So this could go either way once I press this button. So hopefully we have a wheel after the spin. But there are 6 topics. Well, can you hear that? Because you can hear it. But you can't. Oh, there we go. Will it be Raikkonen's last season?
I think it will be because he's 40 now, 41. He's still got the hunger and he obviously still wants to go racing, but I think it all hangs on whether Alpha can give him a good car this year because they didn't last year.
But, they've got their new car out and it looks tidy, but it's nothing to really blow you away. But it all hinges on the Ferrari engine in the back of it and whether that will be enough to propel them up, because they have had links with Renault.
It seems so much this year depends on Ferrari engines. That's the topic I'm hearing sort of on a weekly basis, whether it's about Ferrari or not.
So there's 3 teams that they'll mess up.
Wow. So this is going to be noob alert for those that are the aficionados. When they select the engines to use, these cars that are using Ferrari parts, do they know? I'm taking it they don't know about the problems before they select the engines. They select the engine before testing, before work, before anything, or do they know?
It basically, you've got Williams and Aston Martin are in with Mercedes. McLaren have now joined them as well. You've got Haas and Alfa Romeo that are in with Ferrari. You used to have Toro Rosso before they changed and they went to the Hondas. Basically it's made a decision in advance and whatever happens basically.
Okay.
And you're normally tied into a deal and you don't want to upset people by jumping out of it.
Yeah. But even if the part is crap, like even at this point where, like you just said, it could mess up the whole season because it's proved to be unreliable, you still don't want to renegade on the deal?
Well, a lot of it, you'll have a contract as well.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, a team like Haas, when they first set up, they'll say, right, we want to sort of tie in with Ferrari. So they'll link up with Ferrari in their junior program. That's where they've got people like Mazepin and Schumacher because they're both Ferrari juniors as well. And it's a place to sort of bleed in potential future Ferrari drivers. And unfortunately, in Haas's case, it also means taking on a load of Ferrari parts, which usually is fine. You'd have thought if you wanted a team in Formula 1 to be with you, it'd be Ferrari. But the past couple of years, Ferrari engines have not been fantastic. And you're stuck with them, really.
It's quite an important part of the car. And without it, you don't really go racing very well. And if you jump ship from one, it's then a hassle to try and get another one to supply you an engine.
We had that with Red Bull in the past, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because quite recently, because when Honda said they were pulling out of the sport, neither Ferrari or Renault wanted to supply Red Bull with engines, or Mercedes, sorry, because Red Bull burnt their bridges with Renault in quite a bad way. And I think the other 2 teams know that if Red Bull had their engines, they'd be better than them. So they had to go with
back in the day when McLaren wanted another engine. Obviously, Ferrari was quite good at the time, but McLaren would never have a Ferrari engine because they're such big rivals.
Okay, right. I've got a little bit of bad news. Just a little bit of bad news. The wheel has gone.
That's good.
Yep. The wheel. I mean, this doesn't happen on the wheel on BBC One, does it? I mean, why can't we get a decent wheel, for crying out loud? What is this? What is this?
At least it's spinning this time.
What is it? Here we go. What can we expect from Aston Martin? There we go. Now, are they using a Ferrari engine? I'm going to ask first of all.
No.
Okay, good. We can move away from the Ferrari engine fiasco. Talk to me about it.
I think we can expect the odd podium from them this year. they've got a good car because we all know basically they're using previous Mercedes. So you'd imagine that this is going to be, obviously it's technically still going to be the 2019 Mercedes, but with more upgrades and more updates. They're going to have the latest Mercedes engine bolted to the back.
Do you reckon they'll take everything? Because all the teams that are basically the customer teams as such, everything of last season, they can, for free, upgrade to the latest parts.
I reckon they will. Probably as much as they can get away with, I think they will. Because it's a team that's got a clear plan and a clear ambition to move up the grid. They've got, they managed to convince Sebastian Vettel to join them. Obviously, four-time world champion, one of the best drivers of recent years. I think he'll get a few podiums this year because he's now out from under that pressure of Ferrari, and I think he's got time to go away, sort his head out, get all that pressure off his shoulders that he was clearly under the past couple of years, which was a lot of it self-inflicted, yes, but it's a fresh start for him, and I think he'll absolutely wipe the floor with Stroll. I really hope he does.
I hope so.
Yeah, I can't.
If he doesn't, it's worrying.
Yeah. Well, this could be bad for Stroll because he's going to, obviously, you need to beat your teammate.
There's no Stroll in the
If
park.
he gets done, there you go. If he can't beat Vettel, then it's going to hurt him. But we'll see.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that one. I'm sorry. I would say I promise that would never come out again. But
it's an easy one to make.
Alonso post crash. So he had a cycle crash. Am I right in thinking that? I should have written that when I wrote the wheel up, just so I reminded myself. But yeah, talk to us about Alonso post the cycle crash. Is he okay? What's the status of him? Is there anything hampered with the Formula One wise? Talk to us, Neil.
I must admit, I'm very good at this. I don't know all the details. But basically, he's supposed to be out of hospital now. He's supposed to be fine as such. Is he going to need surgery on his jaw? I can't remember. But
I think he did have a bit, but he is out of hospital now. There's some videos posted of him training, and doing that sort of the neck strength sort of training. So he seems pretty good. Doesn't seem to have affected him too badly.
It's just you think come back to Formula One, it's the build up, and that happens.
Yeah, remember,
especially last week, I ended up saying I hope he has a bad season.
Yeah. Cheers. This is on you. But yeah, he is back. He's back training, doing the sort of. I saw videos of him on Instagram doing neck strength and that sort of thing earlier with the sort of weights attached. Which you remember a few years back, Mark Webber had a cycle crash before a season, and it was sort of doubtful whether he'd take the start of the season or not. I suppose it's the risk you have to take if you're going to go out and do that sort of thing. But I mean,
did he break a leg or something though? He does.
I think he did, and I think he drove for most of that season with a damaged leg.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, Kubica back in 2011, he went rallying, and it cost him his career basically. So they're the risks you sort of take being a Formula One driver and doing that sort of thing. But yeah, it's good to see he's back training and that he's well, and it doesn't seem to have affected him that much.
Fair enough. Sorry. There we go. My phone's been going balmy through this. I'm trying to fight fires everywhere. Everyone wants a piece of the king when you become royalty. Will it? I've probably missed this, but will it affect his Formula One start of the campaign?
No, I don't think so.
No, we sure.
He seems fine.
Okay,
we'll see.
You two don't like giving answers, do you? You like sitting on
that. He'll have a good year.
Okay, Neil, talk to me. How will? I'm not going to attempt and make myself look silly. So, Neil, how do we pronounce that surname for me, please?
I don't actually know this. Yeah, something like that.
We'll go with that. How will
Steve?
Tsunoda, see? Steve sat there quietly while I'm trying to guess this word. And he knows
I don't want to
it.
put you out of it. Yeah, I just like watching you squirm.
Yeah. How will Tsunoda do?
It's a big year for
reasonable.
him.
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right. He's got a very good teammate though with Pierre Gasly, so it's going to be tough. But I didn't really see anything in Formula 2 that made me think he's going to be a star, but you never know.
If Gasly wants to really push on in Formula 1, he needs to outperform Tsunoda.
Absolutely.
If he doesn't do that, then pretty much that's him dead and buried.
But can he?
I think he should be. I think Gasly should easily be able to deal with him, but it's his first season, so really you would be looking more along the lines of Norris's first season, something like that. He'll be inconsistent, but he should have moments of looking good.
They expect him to, don't they, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be tracks, like Neil was saying with Norris, there's going to be tracks that he doesn't know because Formula 2 doesn't go to all the races. There's going to be tracks that he does know. I think all Alpha Tauri can really hope from him is that he keeps within a certain distance or keeps in a certain sort of time of Gasly. Obviously, Gasly's going to be riding really high after last year. He's now a race winner, bouncing back from that Red Bull rejection. So I hope Gasly doesn't go back to Red Bull. I don't think he will, but I think another big team will be lucky to have him at some point. Give him a couple of years, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think he's got a hope in how getting a Red Bull seat.
And if he knows what's good for him, he won't go back.
He doesn't go back twice, does he?
No. And if Tsunoda can keep up with Gasly, especially the circuits that he does know, then it'll be interesting to see what he can do and how close he can get to him.
Okay. We've got 2 topics left. We're doing well. 21 minutes into a half-hour show. You can almost see what one is. The other one's still hidden by the fact the wheels just decided to give up. That was a great spin. Right. Alfa Romeo news today. What was the news today from Alfa Romeo?
Launched their new car and livery.
And what do we make of it then, Neil? We impressed?
It looks quite good. They've basically flipped where the red and white was on the engine cover and the side pods. I think it looks better than it did last season. It was quite white and plain, to be honest. But they've concentrated mostly on the nose. They've spent a lot of their tokens improving the front. But we'll see how good it does.
In terms of livery, I think it's a solid 9 out of 10 for me. Looks very, very nice. It looks more striking than it did last year. They worked quite nicely on that. But yeah, like Neil said, it's all on the nose there. They need a better season. I think obviously a large part of that hangs on whether Ferrari can provide a good engine. Because last year you didn't expect to see the actual Ferraris fighting with the customer teams. But they were a lot of the time, especially with Vettel. I think they just need to be solid point scorers this year, which is not going to be easy because the midfield is quite close. If they can do that, I'll be happy because I have got a bit of a soft spot for Alpha.
One of the main guys in Alfa Romeo said that they were aiming to at least compete with the midfield.
Is that feasible?
Should be the minimum that they're aiming for. I think in the long run that he wants to be at the front of the midfield, which for me is not exactly aiming high, but
it's like being a Burnley, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're trying to be a Burnley. No disrespect to Burnley. I mean, I'm a Town fan. I can't really criticise a Premier League club, but I don't.
All we want is to win a game.
Well, score a goal. I think after this point would be good. 2-0 draws during the week. But you say about not being aiming high. It's almost like a team waking up tomorrow and they're saying, right, which team do we want to most emulate? And I mean, it wouldn't be Burnley. It's Leicester, possibly, not Burnley.
But the thing with Formula One, it's really tricky because you've got the likes of Ferrari and Red Bull. They're going to be streets ahead of anyone else. They're going to be the ones fighting at the top.
If the engine works.
If the engine works. And then you've got third place is sort of, if Ferrari can get their act together, they should be shoo-ins really for that. But you've also got the likes of McLaren, who are looking very, very good. Aston Martin, who are looking very good. Alpine, they could do quite well. And then it also leaves teams like, obviously Alpine are going to be around that sort of mark anyway, but then you've got teams like Alfa Romeo, Alpha Tauri. There's a lot of teams to make up 10 places, that score points. So the midfield is going to chop and change, I think, week in, week out. I think the only consistency are going to be sort of towards the back are going to be Haas and Williams. But the likes of Alpha Tauri, Alfa Romeo, Alpine, I think are always going to be sort of around that sort of top 10 fringe sort of thing. So it's really tricky. So I suppose for Alfa Romeo to say we want to be fighting at the head of the midfield, for them, I suppose it's actually okay. Because that's consistency and that's sort of what they can expect with how close the midfield is.
My man Neil, he says no. So from Alfa Romeo to our last topic, Alpha Tauri update. What have I got from that, Steve?
They had the new car a couple of days ago. Was it yesterday? Day? I can't remember.
Last week, was it mid last week?
Oh, I can't remember. It's a nice
Since the
looking
last
car.
show.
Though. This is the last show. They've basically done what Alpha have seemed to have done as well and just flipped the colours around. So it was primarily white. It's now primarily a lovely dark blue with white wheels, and it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Big fan of that livery this year. Really is nice.
Yet again, they've concentrated on the front end. They've taken the Red Bull front suspension and steering. They haven't taken the Red Bull rear suspension, in which is considered a little bit of a surprise. But they claim that Red Bull had a handling issue, and they're satisfied with how their car is. And they've just tweaked it, hoping it'll get a little bit extra.
Anti-chicken, worth waking up at 8 a.m. for the livery for sure.
It was
and
lovely.
Ben Moore asked, just going back to the Vettel point, would the pressure still be on him because of his name and a teammate like Stroll? Could you sit back and say that Vettel with the experience can win points? What do you think on that, Steve?
I think Vettel has always got a very good question. Vettel has always got a certain amount of pressure on him because he is Sebastian Vettel. He's a 4-time world champion. He is expected to, I suppose, perform as such and deliver results that show that. It's not easy when you've got a dog of a car like he had last year, but then again, you can argue and say, well, how come Charles Leclerc got the results he did and Vettel didn't? Vettel, I think, has really been his own downfall because he's chucked away so many races and so many points. I think that there's still going to be pressure on him, as I say, just because he is who he is, but less because if you're at Ferrari, you're expected to perform at a certain level. Aston Martin is their first year in F1. They're expecting a decent year because they've effectively taken over an old Mercedes. But I think it will be less pressure because he's going to be out from under that shadow that comes with Ferrari. It's a fresh team. It's a fresh start. Stroll needs to keep up with Vettel this year. I mean, Stroll's not going to be in danger of losing his seat. We all know that. But no, I think generally there will be less pressure on him because as long as he can just turn up and beat Stroll and do a good job at an Aston Martin, he's not expected to win races in it. So if he can just put in some good solid performances, I think he'll be okay.
I think he's expected to push the team forward. At the very least, they'll want some, basically an experienced man at the helm to really help them develop and push the team forward and try and get some solid points. There's a picture on Instagram of his having a good smile and he looks like he's having a good time. And Aston Martin as a team will just be a lot less serious than Ferrari are.
Well, he's a hell of a signing as well because if you're bringing your brand into Formula One as a sort of fully fledged constructor for the first time since the 50s, and you're going it on your own essentially, you're going to want a decent signing, and they've got one of the best of recent years to drive for them, and I think that's fantastic. He's the perfect guy to take this team forward and to push this team. Okay,
and back to the Tauri as we close up. What do we expect from them? We heard Romeo are pushing for the midfield, or they want to be going there. Where do you think the Alpha Tauri? What's their objectives for this year, if you had to label them?
Carry on where they were last season. Really, they were pushing McLaren and Renault. Well, to be fair, they were a little bit behind, weren't they? But now and again, they jumped in. So I suppose be more consistently pushing the likes of Renault, Aston Martin and McLaren to try and be the next best behind Red Bull. And
so it's consistency, Steve. They need to be more consistent this year.
Yeah, I don't know if they can expect as good a season as they had last year. Obviously, last year they got a good few podiums. They ended up winning a race, which is fantastic. They've swapped a very experienced driver for a rookie. So just consistency.
I thought last season was a little bit of an off season for them because they normally perform quite well in that midfield.
They were very hit and miss. I mean, they were fantastic. Obviously, it was quite a fortuitous race win they got, but there's obviously things that went against a lot of other teams. But yeah, a good, decent podium haul as well. Got a good couple of them, which for them, good. I would say, if they can pick up sort of where they left off last year, get some good, solid, consistent points, constantly be around that sort of 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and get themselves at the head of the midfield, I think that'll be a success.
Okay, there we go. Half an hour in the books. One more closer to the extravaganza of the Formula One season coming back. My Labrador wants to play fetch, as you probably heard or saw there. Do apologise if you did hear it. Before we leave, anti-chicken. I think with the Alpha Tauri, they need to make a car full of track for all tracks, because some races they weren't on the pace.
No, it is one of those, isn't it? Where there's certain tracks where they're on fire and some where they're just nowhere to be seen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Ben Moore, the killer question to end. Who's got more chance of losing their jobs? Lambert or Stroll?
Lambert, 100%.
Steve?
Lambert, they all seem to be cemented, so I don't know. I'd have to say Lambert, but you never know.
Okay, we'll see you all next week with Love With Care.
Music is my therapy. It puts my anxious thoughts to sleep. Helps me focus my attention. Avoid the fear.